Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will talk about what is believed to be North Korea's direct involvement in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But what does Pyongyang hope to gain from this? And how could this impact Vladimir Putin's invasion war? To understand what is happening now in Ukraine, we need to go back a few decades. The relationship between North Korea and Russia has deep roots. During the Korean War in the early 1950s, the Soviet Union was one of the biggest supporters of Kim Jong-suk, the grandmother of the current North Korean dictator, Kim Jong-un. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the relationship between the two countries cooled, but it was never completely severed. Following the Soviet collapse, Russia took a pragmatic approach, providing limited economic support to North Korea while also seeking to maintain diplomatic relations with the West. However, in recent years, we have witnessed a significant rapprochement between Moscow and Pyongyang, culminating in 2024 with the signing of a new mutual defense treaty between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. This agreement is much more than a symbolic gesture, as it includes a clause for military support in the event of an attack on either party. In practice, this means that Russia and North Korea are now military allies. But what changed for this alliance to be renewed so robustly? The answer lies in the difficulties both countries are facing. On one hand, Russia is involved in a prolonged conflict in Ukraine, facing severe Western sanctions. On the other hand, North Korea has been under a regime of heavy economic sanctions for several decades and is desperately in need of allies that can provide military and economic support. This partnership also reflects Moscow's need to seek new partners, especially as its ties with the West have further deteriorated since the start of the war in Ukraine. Now let's analyze the most recent events that indicate North Korea's growing military involvement in Ukraine. Recently, in October 2024, disturbing reports emerged that North Korean officers had been killed in combat in Ukraine, with Ukrainian sources reporting that a missile strike in Donetsk killed at least 6 North Korean officers. This report was confirmed by South Korea's defense minister, who stated it is highly likely that North Korean soldiers are fighting alongside Russian forces. It's important to highlight that we are not talking about mercenaries or irregular forces here, but regular members of North Korea's army. But why would North Korea do this? The answer is multifaceted. First, for Kim Jong-un, the war in Ukraine offers an invaluable opportunity to gain real combat experience. Since 1953, more than 71 years ago, North Korea has not been involved in a real conflict. Therefore, direct involvement in this conflict allows North Korean troops to test their skills in a modern war scenario, including handling new types of weapons being supplied by Russia. Additionally, North Korea likely sees this involvement as a bargaining chip. In exchange for direct military support, Pyongyang hopes to receive financial and food aid from Russia, as well as possibly obtain advanced military technology, further strengthening its nuclear deterrence capability. It's worth noting that since the start of the war, there have been reports that North Korea has supplied ammunition and artillery to Russia, denied by both Moscow and Pyongyang. But now we are seeing a new level of involvement: boots on the ground. The geopolitical implications of this military alliance go far beyond Ukraine, directly affecting the balance of power in the Asia-Pacific region. South Korea, North Korea's immediate neighbor, has watched these developments with growing concern. Seoul has already indicated that if Russia supplies high-precision weaponry to North Korea, it may reconsider its own role in the war, increasing its military assistance to Ukraine. Furthermore, China, which has historically been North Korea's main ally, may not look favorably on this growing Russian influence over Pyongyang. While China is interested in maintaining stability on the Korean Peninsula, it may not be willing to support an overly strengthened Russia. However, the broader implications relate to the possibility that this alliance represents the beginning of a new global geopolitical division, with rival blocs emerging. On one side, we see Russia, North Korea, Iran, and China. On the other side, NATO, the United States, and their allies, including South Korea. This dynamic raises an important question. Are we entering a new Cold War, with new military blocs forming in response to growing global instability? Or is this just a temporary realignment of alliances in the face of regional crises? But effectively, what does North Korea hope to gain from this military alliance with Russia? Besides the already mentioned combat experience, it is possible that Pyongyang is seeking more than just financial support and weapons. Kim Jong-un may be trying to use relationship to strengthen his position in future negotiations with the West. And on the other side, what does Russia gain? For Putin, the partnership with North Korea provides additional military manpower and the logistical support he so desperately needs on the battlefield. Moreover, it sends a message to the West. Moscow is not alone, even if it means aligning with one of the world's most isolated regimes. On the other hand, China, though still a central player, watches cautiously. If Pyongyang continues to get closer to Moscow, Beijing may rethink its regional strategy. How far will China allow this partnership to go without directly interfering? Is the Russia-North Korea alliance a threat to China's long-term interests? As we can see, this growing alliance between the Russians and North Koreans has raised many questions. How will the West react if this alliance continues to grow? Will South Korea indeed step up its support for Ukraine? And most importantly, are we really on the brink of a new Cold War? Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you liked the content, don't forget to leave a like. This helps the channel grow and reach more people. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike and explain in the comments how we can improve. Also, comment with suggestions for topics we can cover in future videos. Insulting comments or those defending dictatorships or war criminals will be blocked without exception. Thank you for your understanding. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and hitting the bell to receive all notifications. Thank you. See you next time.